SaferUSA. What we do is firearm training. I started out 4 years ago last October. I taught 6 classes to 31 people. I'm an NRA training counselor. So we taught basic rifle, basic pistol, that kind of thing. That was 4 years ago, October. In 2010, my little hobby, I'm a journalist by trade, so it automatically makes me distrustful, but it's okay. That little hobby, which I started, by the way, because a woman told me a horror story about wanting to learn to shoot, and she went to take classes somewhere, and this is the true story. She said we do what I call the sort of Alcoholics Anonymous at the beginning of class. Hi, I'm Bill. I'm here because I want to learn to shoot the snot out of stuff, that kind of thing. And it got around to her, and she told this really nice anecdote about how, when she grew up, she used to go to her grandfather's farm. And as a very young girl, her grandfather would take her out shooting. And then she lived in Chicago, and she married someone who didn't like guns, and she lived a life without shooting. And when her husband passed away, she was in her 50s, and she wanted to learn to shoot. So she went and took a class, and when they did the little go-around thing, she told that story, why she wanted to shoot. And the instructor said, it's not funny, but it is. The instructor said in front of 9 or 10 men, she was the only woman, you really want to do this? It's not really a girl thing. That's when I decided to start SaferUSA. I literally, and if you go to my website and read my little message, it will tell you that. I was an academic for years. I was a professor. It's 2 strikes, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So I just became very oriented towards everyone should have an equal opportunity and equal access. So 6 classes, 31 students 4 years ago, October. In 2010, I had 15 instructors. We were teaching out of 4 locations. We taught 126 classes to 744 people. Apparently people want to learn how to shoot. So we branched out. We now do, I actually don't teach the basic classes anymore. I tend to specialize in concealed carry, personal protection in the home, tactical training, that kind of stuff. So we do tactical pistol, tactical rifle, all those sorts of things. So the reason I'm up here, actually the real reason I'm up here in a moment of candor is because we started a nonprofit, and it's called SaferUSA Outreach Fund. And the purpose of it is threefold. Specifically, number one, to provide training, nonprofit training, to what I refer to as non-traditional shooters, women, young people, minorities, and persons with disabilities. I've heard the story over and over from those groups how they have a hard time getting training. They never feel quite accepted in a lot of places. So that was number one mission for our new not-for-profit. The second one is specifically to accumulate some money to provide academic, post-secondary academic scholarships to students who have a demonstrated. Does it work? Oh, good. Now I can keep yelling. So can you hear this? Is that all right? Beautiful. Oh, good. Extended a little bit. That's fine. Well, that's nice. This way, when I go home, I won't be too hoarse to yell at the dogs. So the second mission, the second item in the mission statement is specifically to provide post-secondary school scholarships to young people who have a demonstrated history in shooting sports and hunting sports, particularly if they're going into areas that are what I refer to as underserved, like law school or public policy studies or education, or guns are terrible things. And then the third thing is my own kind of really, and this will be the end, I promise, then we're going to do something more interesting. But the third thing is my personal thing. I have, do we have any law enforcement people in here? Any? Really? Really? Free coffee? I don't get it. No donuts. No donuts. That's why. I knew my badge was twitching for a reason. I don't know why. I've been what's called an auxiliary deputy for going on 18 years now in 2 different states, Ohio and here. This is really a very sort of tragic situation. The budgets, particularly in this state, are so bad for law enforcement that most departments, and certainly all small departments, have no budget whatsoever for training beyond the absolute minimum required once a year by the state to recertify. And that is putting 50 holes in a piece of paper. That's all it is. There's nothing tactical about it. It has nothing to do with staying alive on the street. And we see people who should not get shot. We see police officers get killed because they lack training. We just need to get tactical training to those types of departments. So the third thing on my nonprofit is to provide in a nonprofit, free of charge, to those departments that don't have a budget, the type of tactical training they simply cannot get. Most of those little towns, their cops have never had that type of training ever. And if they encounter that sort of a situation, chances are they're going to get killed, or they're going to shoot somebody inappropriately. So those are the 3 things we set out to do. We're in fundraising mode, blah, blah, blah. I don't want $5 from each of you. I actually want 1.5 million back. Is that it, Robert? I think it's 1.5 million. 10.5. Robert is my business development guy. He wants 10.5. I'm very cheap. $1.5 million, I'd be happy. But we need to set up a facility to do that kind of training. So that was my proselytizing. Now, I will do for you